Warm-up problems or anything like that, let's just get into the slope and get this done. So hopefully you can get your homework done in class. So obviously nothing to fill out on the notes here. Just take a look at this. Slope, of course, it just kind of depends on how I'm going to calculate it, depending on whether they give me the graph. If they give me the graph, meaning the picture of the line, I'm going to count rise first, up and down, and then I'm going to count the run next, left to right. And remember, it's between any 2 points on the graph. There's an infinite amount of points on a line. You know that from chapter 1, okay? You just have to pick any 2, count the rise, run. That will give you the slope. Now, just to kind of give you an idea, why do we like slope? Slope is important because it really tells you 2 things. The direction of the line and kind of how steep the line is. So, of course, if your slope's positive, the line should always be rising left to right. Focus in the back, please. Negative, it falls left to right. We're going to see 0. If you have a 0 slope, you have no rise. You're not going up and down at all, so it's just horizontal. Undefined, of course, is vertical. The reason why on that, remember, a fraction's undefined when you have 0 in the denominator, so you do not have a run. You are not going left to right at all. That means you only can be going up and down. So vertical lines all have slopes undefined. Hopefully this looks a little familiar to you. Okay, so let's just practice calculating the slope. Now, you can see they've got clearly the 2 points on here for you to kick it off. It doesn't matter if I start counting from the left or the right, we will get the same answer. Because I'm standing here to the left, I'm going to start on this left point. So I'm going to count rise first. So to get to the other point, I have to go down. 1, 2, 3. And notice I put the negative on it because you're going down. And then I have to go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is our slope. Exciting stuff, isn't it? Okay, just to prove to you, and I'm not going to do it every single time, but let's say I started from the right point and counted to the left. You will get the same answer. Up and down first. So you have to go up 3, but then you have to go left 4. So you do have an equivalent fraction. Those are the same thing. So it doesn't matter which point you start at, you will get the same final answer. All right, let's take a look at this guy. So because I'm standing on the right, I'm going to start here. I'm going to count up and down first, rise. So I had to go up 2. And then I have to go left 2. And since you're going left, now this time, of course, like all good mathematicians, we can reduce those fractions. What's 2 over negative 2? Got it. So final answer, negative 1. And I'm pretty sure I've taught you nothing new yet, right? Piece of cake. Gotta love an easy day. Okay, same thing. Let's count our slope. Again, just because I'm standing here on the left side, I'm going to start at the left point. I'm going to count rise first, up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up. And then right 3. Got it. And of course, I knew it was going to be a positive answer because my line is rising left to right. Just like I knew this would be negative because it's falling left to right. Okay, now on this guy, they didn't give you any hardcore points. That's fine. Pick 2. Any 2. Doesn't matter. I'm going to pick 2. So I don't know. I'm going to use this point here. That looks like a good one. I'm going to pick any other point I want. I'm going to do this one. Now, I'm going to count the rise first. I'm going to count bottom to the top. So if I go bottom to the top, I have to go up 1, 2, 3. What is the run, though? How many left and right?
0.
And, of course, 0 under the line is undefined. Now, here's the other thing. As you do this a lot, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, vertical lines never have a run. I don't even pick points and count. I just know because there's no run, all vertical lines have an undefined slope. I just write down undefined and go about my business, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to review with you, if you do not have the picture of the graph, you have the point. So this you do need to fill in. Hopefully that formula looks familiar to you. If you just have the ordered pairs, we're going to subtract the y coordinates. Y, of course, is the rise. And then we subtract the x to get the run. So that's the next thing I'm going to show you if you don't have the actual picture of the line, how you can just punch that in the formula. And I'm assuming that formula looks familiar. We know that, yeah? Okay, I see. All right. So make sure that is not on your notes. Make sure you get that filled in. And just want to make sure everybody's writing it down quick. Although you probably know it.
No, I can give this to my sister.
They're doing the exact same thing in Algebra 1 today, people. So, I mean, I feel like, yeah, this is a lot of review. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. Now, I like to always label my points. Even when we do distance formula, midpoint formula, I'm going to label them here. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So of course my formula, y2 minus y1. So y2 negative 6 minus y1, x2 5 minus x1. And then this is where I said, I don't know if you need your calculator or not. Hopefully we can just mental math this. On the top, what's negative 6 minus 3? Got it. And of course, this is going to make a plus. What's 5 plus 2 really? 7. Now, last thing I'm going to do just before I circle it, just check really quickly. Can you simplify or reduce 9 over 7? Nope, so we're going to leave it. This is like the most amount of work you have to do today. I know it's exciting stuff. Okay, x1, y1. You know I like to label. So again, I'm just using my formula, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay, so on the top, let's make that a plus. What's negative 8 plus 1? And 3 minus 3?
0.
0 under the line is undefined. So for my final answer, make sure, of course, you put undefined. You don't just leave 7 over 0. Put the final answer is undefined. So any questions on the front page of the notes? Too easy. Okay, flip it. So let's do some more, of course. You know I like to label. Do I care if you guys label? No, you don't have to label as long as you can calculate your slope. I'm just going to label, of course, for our notes. y2 minus y1, so 2 minus 5 gives you the rise. And then we do the x's. x2 minus x1. So let's do the top first. A little mental math here today. What's 2 minus 5? Negative 3. And the bottom, 3 plus 1. And I'm just going to do a quick check. Obviously, does 3 over 4 reduce? No. Circle it up, right? Okay, D. Same thing. I'm going to label. So again, I'm doing my y2, 7 minus y1. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd probably stop right there because what's 7 minus 7?
0.
And 0 over whatever on the bottom, I don't care what's on the bottom, 0 over anything is just always 0. So again, you can do the bottom if you want, x2 minus x1, negative 13 if you want to get fancy about it. But one thing you have to kind of keep straight, of course, whether your final answer is 0, 0 in the numerator, the top, versus 0 in the denominator, undefined. You cannot divide by 0. Just for the record. All right, that's my last dramatic piece on that. Now, we're going to talk about slope-intercept form of a line. Today, I'm 100% positive you know the equation for this. Y equals mx plus b. And I'm 100% sure you probably know the rest of this. M represents the what? Slope. B represents the y-intercept. I'm just going to abbreviate here. Now, one thing, I don't know if they're picky about this in Algebra 1, but remember, an intercept, because we're picky about this in trig pre-calc, an intercept is a point on the line. Point, you have to write it as an ordered pair. So you can't just say your y-intercept is 5. You have to put 0, 5. It needs to be a point. It's the dot on the graph, a coordinate on the graph. So I don't know if they're picky about that in Algebra 1, but I know we are in trig, so we're going to start working on writing that as an ordered pair now. So here we go. Identify the slope, y-intercept, and then we're going to graph some lines. I know, it's exciting stuff. You're in slope-intercept form. Of course, your slope negative 2. My y-intercept is 1, but I'm not going to put 1. I'm going to put 0, 1. So first things first, we're going to plot 0, 1, so right there on the y-axis. Now, to do the slope, you can leave it as negative 2, obviously, I don't care. But I'm just thinking to count it. I know that's really over 1. So I know the rise, negative 2, I'm going to go down 2, run is 1, right 1. So from my point, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Now, I just can't draw that well, as we have all witnessed over our lives, so I just put a couple points on to try to help me draw a straight line. Usually 3 is good enough. This is too easy, by the way. Okay, all right. What's your slope on B? 1 over 3. Now we're going to write the y-intercept as 0, there we go, negative 4. Okay, let me scroll mine up a little bit. I feel like my graph's way at the bottom here. So let's plot 0, -4 first. So right on your y-axis. And from there, I'm going to count the slope. So our slope's 1/3, the rise is 1, run is 3. So up 1, right 3. Up 1, right 3. I'm just going to put one more because I can't draw straight. Got it. Too easy. Any questions on that guy? Okay, 2 more. Bless you. What is your slope on this one? 1, because you really have a 1 in front of x. And your y-intercept, there's no number in the back, so of course 0, 0. So we're going to start at the origin. I know it's just kind of hard to put your point there just in pencil. Now again, 1 is, I'm thinking about in fraction form, 1/1. So rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. So up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. And just for the thrill of math, that's called the identity function, just FYI, because all the x coordinates are the exact same as the y. 5, 5, 7, 7, 8, 8 are all points on that line. Okay, I'm done with that. This one's kind of blurry, sorry. What's your slope on this one? -4/5. Like it. Intercept.
2.
Got it. So let's plot our y-intercept first as 0, 6. Now, when you do this slope of -4/5, you just have to be a little conscientious. Because sometimes a lot of kids put the negative, don't write this because this is going to cause me anxiety. They'll put the negative on both numbers. And I'm like, wait a minute. If you put the negative on both numbers, 2 negatives make a what? So you can only put the negative either on the top number or the bottom, not on both. You will count the same slope. I'm just going to think of it on the top number. So I'm going to do a rise -4. I'm going to go down 4, right 5. Plus I want my line falling left to right. I'm going to put one more point on it. Down 4, right 5. All right, let's try to draw that best I can. Got it. So just be conscientious of your signs as always. Any questions on that guy? As I hear us all flipping already our notes over to the back. Okay, I guess that. All right, final 4 for today. Write in slope-intercept form, identify the slope in y-intercept. So the trick on this, really, these equations are not, Grayson.
Are we not like proofs based on?
Right. No, come on now, come on. Okay, so of course on this one, you're not in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to solve it for y. I want it in that y equals mx plus b. So to get y alone, I'm first going to cancel 4x. I'm going to subtract it off both sides. And just because Grayson asked me if we're going to have proofs and I can't help myself, I'm just going to throw out there that I'm using the subtraction property of equality that we use when we write proofs. You're welcome. Okay, make sure you put the x term first and then the 16. And yes, the order does matter. Slope-intercept form, you have to have x first and then the number. Last but not least, I'm going to divide everything by -2. And as every math teacher always says, be conscientious of your signs. -4 over -2, 2. 16 over -2. And now we are ready to answer this bottom step. What number is your slope? 2. What's your y-intercept? I'm good with the 0. Appreciate you guys today. Got it. All right, let's do B. A little algebra here. We got to solve for y. This one's not so bad. So I'm going to use my addition property of equality. See, now you got me going. I'm going to add it to both sides. Now, remember, you cannot combine 7 and 3x. They're not like terms. X term has to be first, and then the number. Easy peasy. What's the slope? 3. Intercept. Perfect. And I'm just going to pause for a quick sec. Have I taught you anything new yet?
No.
Okay. Thought I'd ask, though. Thought I'd ask, right? All right, let's do these last 2. Again, I'm going to solve for y. I'm going to get rid of the 3x. I'm going to subtract it off first. Now, careful here. Notice on the y, in the front of y, you have a negative, so make sure you keep that with it for right now. We are going to have to get rid of it. X term first, then the 5. Now, what's the easiest way to get rid of the negative off the y? Multiply by -1, which really does what to all the sides? changes them. So I'm not even going to write times -1. I'm just going to change all the signs. Positive y, positive 3x, minus 5. Let's not overcomplicate it, right? What's your slope? 3, intercept. Got it. Got it. Got it. All right, last one. Here we go. So again, I'm going to solve for y. I'm going to subtract x from both sides using my subtraction property of equality. Make sure, of course, we put x first, and then the -7. Ooh, this is going to make fun. I'm excited for this one. Because when you divide by 3, we have a lot of fractions, my friends. And I know you love fractions. Now, because I have to identify the slope, the number fraction in front of x. Remember, the coefficient on x is really a 1. So I'm going to write that as -1/3. So I know the slope's -1/3. I'll fill that in a sec. And I got my 7/3. I'm just going to leave it. So I'm going to put the slope as -1/3. And then the intercept, don't forget the 0. That we don't have to graph that with the 7/3. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. So of course, as always, you have a very lovely worksheet for homework.